Good morning, everybody. Dr. Bulow here, and for the last week and a half I've been talking about the 5 signs of life. It's this biological concept. It's the 5 criteria to distinguish living things from non-living things. And it's something that we take very seriously, and it's kind of how we approach health and wellness in our office. So I figured I'd share it with you today. So the 5 signs of life. The first we'll start out with is growth. All living things actually have the ability to grow, whether it's a single-celled organism or a multicellular organism like ourselves. Second would be assimilation. Living things can take in components from their environment, things like plants, meats, foods, water, sunlight, and chemically convert that and use it for energy. That's the second. It's called assimilation. Number 3 would be excretion. All living things have a waste management system, if you will. Number 4 is reproduction, right? The ability to reproduce or continue the species down the line. And then number 5. Number 5 is the big question mark that I want to talk about today. The 5th sign of life, to be perfectly honest with you, the way we look at it is probably one of the most important signs of life. Number 5 is adaptability or adaptation. All living things have the ability to adapt. So for you and I, probably the easiest example would be when it's hot outside we sweat, and when it's cold outside we shiver, right? But even internally we adapt. So let's say we have a lot of spicy food, and all those stimulants get into our digestive tract, and the body dumps in lots of water to kind of dissolve or dilute the intensity of those spices. Now that might cause an unpleasant time in the bathroom afterwards, but that's actually how your body's dealing with all of those spices. Your body's constantly adapting to its environment. Think about little babies. When their teeth cut through the gums die, and the natural bacteria clean up afterwards. But if the bacteria gets to be too much, then very often your body will produce a fever to control the bacteria. That's actually a healthy adaptation. That's the way your body internally regulates things. So our definition of health, of wellness, of life in the body is how well is someone's body actually adapting to its environment. I mean, if you really think about it, what's the difference between people that are chronically ill and those that are never chronically ill? Well, the ones that are chronically ill are obviously just not adapting as well to their environment. It's a very simple concept, but to be perfectly honest, it's very accurate. How come 20 kids can go to the same classroom and only half come back with the flu? Or some adults get pneumonia every single year? Or you have a family that comes together for dinner, but only 2 of them can't have a certain food, because if they do, it'll ruin their night digestively. What is the difference? The difference is in how well their body adapts. And what drives adaptation in the human body, what actually keeps our body constantly adapting and keeps it responding to its environment, is the nervous system. It's the brain. So when we do our scans, we do infrared imaging of somebody's neck, what we're looking for, number 1 is inflammation. You never want to have inflammation around any of the tissues of the body, especially the lower brainstem. Any chronic inflammation is not a good thing. But more importantly is we're looking for signs of adaptation. We want to see signs of change. Very often someone could feel fantastic. They could feel great. But if we see chronic inflammation again and again and again and again, we know that neurologically the body is not adapting, or it's not adapting as well. And that very often is what predisposes people to chronic health issues. So just a closing thought, if you know anybody that has a chronic health issue or is constantly making excuses for their health, say, oh no, I can't do this because I always get XYZ condition if I eat that food, or I can't go there because I always get XYZ condition if I do that activity. Maybe it's not the food and the activity, maybe it's their body. Maybe their body's not actually adapting as best it could. And if they'd like to come into the Upper Cervical Health Centers, we'll give them a free initial consult and evaluation to see if perhaps there's a lack of adaptation going on. So I hope this has been enlightening and educational, and I'm sorry it's been so long for me to get these videos out, but I promise to do more on a more regular basis. So I hope you're doing well, and we'll see you at the top.